You know, one of the problems I have when I get to preach is there's always stuff I read and hear that I think, oh, I should have included that, but I'm not going to chase those rabbits. So look, I love this phrase, God is love, love is God. Boy, it can't get any simpler than that, can it? And yet so deep. Now today, as we heard, that we're celebrating the feast of Saints Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, which is our patron saint, because our community is named Saint Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, and Friends of Jesus, right? All right, so let's talk about what does it mean to be a friend. Well, Jesus is pretty clear, right? He said, you are my friends if you do what I command. And my commandment is that you love one another, right? Can't get any simpler than that, yet so difficult. But look, let's talk about what we mean by love, right? And we get a glimpse of that in our first reading, right? Solomon asked for that gift of wisdom, not for himself, but for the good of his people. And that is what Augustine describes the love is willing the good of others. And it's a self-emptying love. It's willing the good of others over our own will, over our own interest. It's so focused on others. And of course, that's what Jesus did. That's what he came to. He came to us at this point in time of humanity, right, where humanity might have a chance to understand what that meant. And he demonstrated it by his life and by what he taught. And we're called to imitate that. And we have three great examples to follow that kind of tightens it up a bit. The first one is Mary, right? And it all starts as Mary starts, right? Listening at the feet of Jesus. Now, listening is more than just listening with our ears. We hear in our time, in real time. As soon as you hear my words, you hear it. But we're called to listen with our hearts. And that is on God's time. And that is slower. And for me to listen in that way, it takes quiet. It takes me to shut up and listen and reflect. And one of the problems we have in today's society is it's so noisy. It's so noisy, right? We want to be able to get answers like that, right? Like you go Google, how do I love? Bam. It's how do I love is something that's going to take us a while to sort out. And it's not a one-time thing. So we have to start there as Mary. But we can't stay there. We can't stay there. We have to also be Martha. And Martha serve. Martha, in a real way, helps be Mary, because in our experience of serving, we learn a whole lot more about what Jesus was teaching. Is this me, the noise? Sorry, is this better? All right. So as I was said, Martha is the example of living, of going out and applying what Jesus said and serving others, right? I mean, what Jesus told us, right? This is what I want you to do. I want you to go feed the hungry, cure the sick, visit the lonely, visit the imprisoned. And so Martha is our example of doing that. And when we serve others, we learn a whole lot more, right, about what Jesus is teaching than we're going to get just listening with our ears. So sometimes we have to be Martha and go apply what we heard. But we also have to be Lazarus. And Lazarus, I kept scratching my head for the last few weeks. It's like, how do we be Lazarus? He didn't do anything. He didn't say anything except he listened to Jesus. Jesus said, come on. And he came out. And I think he's a good example of that we should follow in learning how to be served, learning how to be vulnerable, to receive the love others give. And by receive, I don't mean take, I mean receive. And that may be the toughest one model to follow for us, because our society encourages us to follow this lie of we're independent and we don't need anyone else. I'm here to tell you, monkeys will be flying before that happens. But we have to step back and allow others to serve us. And we have to be vulnerable enough to admit we need help. So, as we go through this week, I think one of the things we need to reflect on is, first of all, let me be real clear about this. It's not about our identity. Don't buy into, well, I'm a Martha. Yes, you are. But you're also a Mary and you're also a Lazarus, right? The thing is, we typically only push one. We get strong in one, and that's all we rely on. But we're called to be all. And I think this coming week, what we need to be thinking about, or do whatever you like, what I suggest is that we spend some time asking ourselves, which of these characters, Martha, Mary, or Lazarus, are not as strong in our life as it should be, right? Are we listening and reflecting like Mary? Are we serving like Martha? Or are we receiving like Lazarus? I'm not done. Just a hint. The one that you might find yourself needing to work on most is the one you're most resistant to, the one you go way out of your way to avoid. If we all did that, our parish would be a much stronger reflection of Martha, Mary, Lazarus, friends of Jesus. Amen?